Welcome back to the Chaosium House RuneQuest campaign. I'm Jeff Richard. I will be your GM. And you all can watch this session on the Chaosium YouTube channel. So check that out. YouTube, Chaosium, White Bull. Yeah, you'll find it. Don't worry. Tonight's going to be a housekeeping session because we don't have everybody present, and the characters have all been, you guys have been on the road adventuring for seasons. Now, you spent most of last season back in New Pavis with Operation get the tavern going again, get Nisk to become acclaimed a rune lord. But my recollection is you all actually wanted to more or less kind of lie low and do some more low-key things during darkness season.
Darkness season. Woo.
Oh yeah, worship and all that good stuff. Does that sound right to everybody? And we basically go through and work out training and increases and maybe joining a cult or two and some holy day things. Is there anything else you wanted to throw onto that?
I'll have to think. Yeah, maybe some, just if people want longer term training, stuff like that. We've got to start recruiting, by the way, too. That's our other plan, is out into the rubble, see how our crossbowmen are doing, stuff like that.
Well,
we
so
just send a messenger to them, can't we?
We can just go up there, this wind whistler or whatever. They're staying there.
Well, I believe one of Colbrast's big plans was, and first question I'm going to have before we do this is, are we done as in DUN with Earth season? Can we move into darkness season? Are we all cool with time advancing?
Yep. Well, we probably got to retroactively add a few spells for the Allied Spirit, but there's no rush.
Okay. Claudia, we're fine with that?
Yep. Totally
Okay.
fine.
So darkness season, if you all remember, this is, the heat of fire season and earth season is over in darkness season. This is actually when it gets cold and even plunges down below freezing in New Pavis. So it's got that typical North American desert temperature: hot summer, cold winter. So you guys tell me, what is your all, rather than have day by day stuff, what is the thing that you're going to try to get done during darkness season? It's 8 weeks, 56 days, plenty of time.
I definitely want to do some training.
That's right, because if I recall, Garen, you've been trying to you've realized you're a long way off on a few skills.
Yeah, he definitely needs to improve his riding. I'm tired of him basically every time. I'm basically tired of him failing every ride roll and spending his first couple of days and in any new location being exhausted. So Garen definitely needs to improve his riding.
It's frankly humiliating, isn't it?
It is. Given his proficiency with the sword, he shouldn't be as inconvenienced by some time spent on a horse.
I can teach you how to ride better if you want. Although arguably I ride a bison, so maybe that's a bit different. So maybe
it's a different skill. It is a different. Now, just remember that the bison, you've got to put your legs really wide when you're riding the bison, and you hold yourself like this. And every time Garen, maybe this is why Garen sucks so bad, because every time you listen to Nisk's advice, you fall over.
I could probably teach you how to ride too, if I'm not mistaken.
So to be clear, to be able to teach someone how to ride, your skill in it needs to be 75. I think that's
no.
it.
In that case, I'm not able to teach
and
anyone how to ride.
Yeah.
I thought it
And-
just needed to be higher, so I thought that might work.
No, riding's a neat one too, because if you get your skill to 90, then, or you can find someone with a 90 skill, they can start training the animal
Yeah,
to
the
fight
hor-
with you.
Exactly. They can train your horse.
And that's really cool.
Hmm.
But there are plenty of
I think you should get
opportunities.
Gina to train you.
No, not for riding. I mean, it's
Just
a
need a
super
special a special
is-
saddle too.
Exactly. I mean, I have 24 on riding, so isn't that great?
I think I'm slightly better than you at riding, actually. I just roll really badly.
Well, you could get her a saddle like hers, and then you'd be better at riding.
That's true. Also, I think being taught to
It's a
ride
it's a
backwards-
plus 20% saddle.
you see,
That
I
would
could
be a
use one of
brilliant
those.
plan. No one would
definitely
notice.
use one of those.
No one would notice.
Well, I mean, you could go and try to find a zebra rider who would be willing to train you. Don't you ride a zebra? Or do you ride I think you ride a zebra, right?
No, it's a horse. It's a pretty cool horse.
Got it from the Paul Joni, I think.
Yeah,
A generous gift.
it's a really good one.
I mean,
I'm
yeah,
completely ruined by being awful at riding it.
you are awful at riding. It's actually really, really humiliating. Especially since it was such a fantastic animal. Well, there's a couple of places that train horse riding. One is the Omalio cult, the sun worshippers.
I have a
Yeah.
connection there if you want. I can go ask him.
They're a bit pleased with themselves, sun worshippers, though, aren't they?
But they know how to ride horses. In
Well,
fact,
that's a nice
the horse is the solar, is a sign of the sun. It's
Yeah.
not like the Praxians are going to train you how to ride a horse.
No, that's true. Okay, yeah, well, yeah, I mean, Garan isn't the best at swallowing his pride, but he knows when he has to. So yes, Thane Niskip, I would esteem it an honor if you would introduce me to your friends and call on them to train me in the art of the saddle.
Okay, to do this, they're willing. Let me just double check something here. Yeah, all you have to do is pay 10 lunars to join.
Okay.
Right? They are going to want you to, of course, participate as a lay member in Yomalia worship.
That's actually not too bad for you.
Okay, as a lay member. Okay.
As a lay member, all you have to do, basically what it means is every fire day, you have to go to the little sundome. You know, they've got this little mini sundome. It's really nice and pretty built there, and you have to attend every fire season or every fire day. You have to go there and participate in the regular weekly worship. And if you miss one, then you have to rejoin again and re-enroll.
Such a bunch of nerds.
On the other hand, they dig you because you are truth and they are truth. And they are, because their simple rules are, they've got real simple rules.
Don't drink.
Never befriend a troll or a dwarf. Right? Never trust a troll, never trust a dwarf. Are you good with that, Garen?
Yeah, well, I mean, I already have a gauge to never trust trolls, so that's easy. And I don't like dwarves when we've met them.
So wait. This is sounding pretty good for you, Garen.
Yeah, it is.
Here's something else. Always support the truth in everything you do.
Easy. I am, and that's pretty much me.
And you will be expelled if you're discovered to be lying to the detriment of the cult. Simple lying to outsiders is not good, but it has no set punishment. Don't lie is what they tell you. That's our
Garen
rule. Don't
doesn't
lie. Exactly. You're forbidden from lying,
Secret-
aren't you?
Yeah.
Secret Yalmalio cultist all this time.
Whoa.
And look,
This
they
bunch
have
of nerds.
they know
They
light wall.
wish. They wish.
Yeah,
They know light wall.
They say he's
You can
half
do all this great
halfway
stuff with
there.
them.
Now, what quick question? What is your fire sky rune?
I am not sure I've got anything in Fire Sky.
That's okay. What is your darkness rune?
Darkness is 30.
So your fire sky is 70. No, it's not. Never
It's not
mind.
an opposite.
Never mind. No. It's
Wow,
not an
that would've been
opposed.
Cool.
That's just me being confused. The point is that you're not very strong in the darkness rune.
No.
You're super strong in the truth rune. Yes, all their light shit gets on your nerves a bit, but you got to respect their commitment to the truth.
Oh, yeah, I do. But it's not the truth of death, is it?
No, but they're definitely, and they respect Humoct as the war god. They teach. Humoct teaches, as they say it, Humoct teaches men to be warriors, but Malio teaches them to be soldiers. Anyways, they train ride. So yes, you can get ride you are a lay member of the Amalio cult for so long as you're able every week to show up. And how do you feel about Yamalio? I mean, other than he's obviously a god, and they're quite good horse trainers.
I am. That for Garan, everything, every cult, every god is just less than death.
Of course,
Death is
of course.
ultimate. Everything ultimately passes across the line. Especially as this sun god, he's already been, and frankly, I mean, coming back was pushing it a little bit. However necessary it may have been. So he respects them, but there is always going to be a little distance. He's never going to be able to feel affection for them in the way that he does for, say, Storm.
On the other hand, I have to tell you this about them. One thing that they're filled with is tips on how to fight trolls.
Oh, that's pretty good.
You want to hear number one?
Yep.
Light and light wall. That spell that Colbrast has?
Yep.
If I recall, let's just double check this, but I am pretty sure that Yamalio provides that spell.
They provide both.
Yeah, you could learn that spell if you wanted. They say that is essential for fighting trolls.
And you know what's really exciting? You can get new gifts and new Giases as well.
If you initiate it. You'd have to initiate, though.
Nope.
Yes, no, they teach
now.
light. They don't teach light wall to lay members. They teach light to lay members. But light's still a great useful spell if you're ever stuck fighting trolls. And have we had situations where you were in darkness or near darkness, Garen?
Yes. But I do not fear darkness.
Not fear it.
I have an iron sword. Let them come. I have an iron sword. I have a.
Initiate. If you're an initiate, you can
Especially
also
when you
learn
see
cat's
stuff.
eye. You can see in the dark then.
I will never. Garen will never be an initiate of another cult. He is a one cult man.
He's a one cult man, but nonetheless, they teach you some horse riding. They ride you around on the horse. And how bad is your horse riding?
I think it's low 30, so pretty average.
Now, the great thing about training is you don't have to make an experience check. It goes up at the end of the season.
Awesome.
but I believe it's 1d6 minus 1, Neil.
I can. I'll look it up while we keep.
Yeah, look it up. There's been so many different versions of the training rules. Although, if people are fine with it, I am really inclined to say that training is exactly the same thing on what you gain as experience. If we're fine with that as a house rule,
Experience is a d6, and training is 1d6 minus 1, or add 2, or add 3. So you, in this case, would be d6 and add 3 if you want to do it that way.
Oh, 5. So that's
4 or 5, depending on which
5.
one we're playing. What?
You're 5 then.
Yeah,
5?
I think we already used that house rule before, so it better.
All right, I
keep
want
on
people to
using
remind
it.
me. Just say this is house rule.
I sort
And
of remember we had this discussion before, and we sort of
hint. In the future, this may be a real rule, because I've got to admit, there were rules that were carryovers from RQ3 just on the Uncle Ken rule.
It's don't
Uncle Ken,
ain't bust, don't
what?
train it. If it ain't bust, don't change it.
Uncle Ken said, find 15% you're going to change and keep the other 85%. A rule of changing additions for anything, be it a computer game or a role-playing game. And Uncle Ken is wise, even if he is dissipate. All right, let's go. So you got your training in, Gary, and you're 5 points better. What's your ride now?
39.
wow.
Soon I will be competent.
You can ride almost as well as a 6-year-old Praxian. Almost as well. Isn't that awesome?
Not when you put it like that. No.
Well, I can tell you, Nisk's still better riding on a horse than you, and he rides at half his regular height.
But he's still good. All right, so
Yeah.
Garen, I'm going to now move on, unless there's something else that you want to have that's related to your Yomalio stuff. We'll do some other cult stuff. You're at 100% of rune points, aren't you?
I am indeed, yes.
Yeah. So that's fine. How about you, Colbrast? What's your exciting plans?
Well, I've decided to do something about not always having only one arm.
But that's your feature.
Yeah, I know. So I'll basically keep it, but I have a cunning plan to sort of alleviate that situation. And for that, I go and see an old friend, as it were, as an ancient friend, actually.
So you're going to wander off to the Griffin Gate. Is that right?
That is correct. And see how Wind Whistler is doing.
Well, Wind Whistler is pleased to see you, as always. Of course, Wind Whistler will want to see how you are doing on your spoken old wormish.
Ooh.
Yeah, actually gotten better, strangely enough. See if it's enough. That's plus knowledge bonus.
Are you going to try a augment of any sort?
Yeah, I was wondering. I could probably, I mean, the main problem is anatomy, and you can't really shape the words perfectly, but it's all, in the end, a question of how you shape the air that comes out of your mouth. So I'm going to use my air rune to augment and basically trick him into thinking I'm speaking perfect Wormish.
Yeah, I like this. It makes sense.
So yeah. Okay, yeah, no problem.
By the way, I have a question. What is your illusion rune at right now?
I don't have any.
Give yourself an experience check on illusion rune.
I don't have anything on illusion.
Yeah,
Well,
you're
pretty
getting
easy to go up.
It's pretty easy to go up.
Success. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, I did it. I actually rolled a 4.
Okay, so you rolled a 4 on your old wormish with all of this. That is awesome. That is awesome.
Well.
Son, Worm Whistler will Worm Whistler
Wind
already
Whistler.
Wind Whistler, not Wind Whistler the worm. You know, Wind Whistler views you as something of a student. And so, you know, Wind Whistler is always pleased, and he clearly gains joy of these conversations, hearing a human try to speak Old Wormish. It reminds him, you know, it brings back fond memories of when the Sun Dragon cult was great and powerful.
Yep, a very distant memory, because I'm sure they spoke much better in those times.
Not at first.
Oh, yeah,
Not at
not.
first. Not at first, my student. So what are you trying to get out of Wind Whistler here?
Well, first of all, you know, see if there's anything interesting happened in the rubble while we were away. I mean,
He says the zombies are still there at the Blind King's castle. There's more of them again.
Mm-hmm. How did that happen?
Well, they seem to have recruited, but they generally keep their distance from here and don't cause me any trouble anymore. They seem to have decided that passing towards the edge of the old settlement is too far.
Okay, we'll have to take care of them at one point.
And he says he's still concerned that he's still convinced that there are brew in the area. But he says, you know, by and large, I am pleased. There is a quickening of energies, and I can feel it, and it is good.
Mm-hmm. And what do you mean by that?
There are lines of energy that have been quiescent for an age. Quiescent, quiet. For an age, and they are there again. There is I have been able to the Sun Dragon I have been able to feel again.
So you still think there's a temple or something underneath Blind King's castle then?
I do not know, but I do know that well, the Sun Dragon, the gods and the dragons have had many struggles, after which the gods ruled the sun and its power, and the Sun Dragon retired to its draconic realm. But it is possible to draw and contact the Sun Dragon, and sometimes the Sun Dragon is more in this world than others. But it has been out of this world for a very long time. But I can contact it again, and this is a good thing. Something has changed. When you were in Dragon Pass, how did things changed?
Yeah, they're pretty much.
What did you see?
We saw all sorts of things, which would take a long time to talk about. But yeah, we saw the Eternal Battle at one point. I'm not sure if we already told you about this. We might have. We witnessed the rise and fall of Kalia Starbrow, and the incursion of the Lunars, which we managed to push back against.
But did you see dragons? Were there dragons talking to men again? Were there?
We saw dragons. They did talk to us, yes.
Oh, at this, he's like a giant Maine Coon filled with happiness. A giant, you know, this has him very interested. And keep in mind, how big is Wind Whistler?
12 meters or something, if I remember correctly.
And do you have dragon killing devices on you anymore?
Yeah, I do. I have a javelin.
You have the javelin still. Okay.
But he
Well-
doesn't need to know that at this point.
But he
So,
wants to know all about the dragons that you spoke with.
Yes.
What did
Well,
they teach you?
We conversed in Old Wormish a bit. It sort of works. And we met some dragon men and as well.
And did they speak with you?
Yes, but they were not very friendly. They were very, very haughty and arrogant.
Did you fight with them or lie to them?
No.
Good. So you have spoken. There are dragons that are awakened again in the dragon past, and they're speaking to men. This is good. This is good, says Wind Whistler.
Yep. Good. Yes. It was very interesting.
Did the dragon, so you talked to a dragon, or did you talk to a worm, or just a dragon newt?
A dragon newt and a dragon. Well, we were told it's a dream of a dragon. I'm not so versed in these things.
And what did it tell you?
Well, it mainly complained that no one was bringing it offerings.
Wind Whistler sagely nods as much as a giant worm can sagely nod.
The nod undulates down
It
all the
undulates
meat
down.
of his body. Yeah.
He is willing to tell you something of the sun dragon, and that the sun dragon, he hopes his story does not bore you. He won't tell if you're not interested in this. He will tell you about the sun dragon.
I'll take notes.
The sun dragon was one of many powerful entities which existed in the God's Age, and draconic mythology is difficult for humans to understand, but in a general way, the sun dragon was the source from which the dragons claimed the original sun came. Now, the gods and the dragons fought, after which the gods ruled the sun and its power, and the sun dragon returned to its draconic realm. But when men and dragons learned to speak with each other, this was the men created the empire of the worm's friends, because this was the empire of men who were friends with us. They spoke with us, and we spoke back. And the sun dragon was one of the entities raised and worshipped during the empire of worm's friends period. It was a popular cult once the hill people realized that included within itself powers which made it immune to the most powerful solar magic of the lowland Darahapans. Many worshippers chose its path to dragonhood, and so in the EWF period, lived many draconic people and humanoid dragons ascending the scale of transcendence in the shape of brilliant gold worms and dragons. I am proof of this. Many fought joyfully against the empire, and the sun dragon is the entity which actually sat upon the throne of Darahapa as emperor, until its entanglements in the world grew too much, and it allowed itself to be slain. Unfortunately, the cult was mostly wiped out by the Dragonute Rebellion, the Golden Horde, and the Dragon Kill. And I am, as far as I know, the last worshiper left outside of the Dragon Empire.
That sounds very interesting. So, sun gods are not your sort of cup of tea, then?
Well, sun gods are. This is the sun gods are, they are there. But during the Empire of the Worms Friends, we had many worshippers in lowland Peloria amongst the Pelorians, because the people could see the wisdom and the utility in what we had to say, and they wanted to speak with us. And we had powers that were immune to their priests, and so the priests of Darahapa tried to wipe us out, and instead we defeated them many times in battle. And eventually the Sun Dragon passed the tests of the Darahapans and made himself emperor. And so Darahapa joined the Empire of the Worms Friends. And does Colbrest have any idea what the Empire of the Worms Friends was?
No.
No.
I think Wind Whistler has mentioned it once or twice. And
Yes. He seems to think the Empire of the Worms Friends was a wonderful thing.
We have heard of it on our travels as well, if I remember, sort of vaguely. But
if I recall, the dragon that you killed spoke quite a bit of it.
Yeah, indeed. But
And
I mean,
offered
one
to
thing
tell
is
you
more
its secrets. What?
Yeah, we have to have a talk with that head when I get back. Yes, and now obviously it's makes more sense that he called the dragon newts. What do you call them? Traitors.
Well, but Wind Whistler now, after doing this, is very sad because he is the only worshiper of the Sun Dragon left.
Well, I mean, you could always take on their students.
But who would be interested in this? The Empire of the Worms Friends is gone. There are no humans who wish to learn from dragons, are there?
Well, as you know, I'm a very practical-minded person, and I think you do have very many good ideas, Wind Whistler. So, I would probably volunteer.
You wish to be my student and worship the Sun Dragon. Oh, he's ecstatic about this. You can already speak Old Wormish.
Yep.
Do you have the Fire Sky rune at all?
30.
30. All right. So here's the big thing. You're going to want to train that up because that's the rune that powers its magic. Are you going to try to initiate into over the course of Darkness Season, learn enough of the secrets to initiate into the cult of the Sun Dragon and thereby learn the magic of magical arms?
Yeah, I guess I have to. So this is probably one of those moments where Colbreth thinks that his pragmatism could get him into a small bit of trouble.
Okay, keep in mind what
who cares?
I'm going to give for Earth Season. You are going to train. He is going to help train your fire rune. You are going to get an automatic experience check, one more on Old Wormish, but remember it's capped at 25.
Yeah,
it can't go higher than that.
I'm at 24 with bonus, so
it'll probably hit that number exactly.
Yep.
You will also gain a couple of. He will train you. Normally, I don't let you train in more than one skill during this, but this is a crash course from a dragon. And if anybody can train more than one skill, do we agree that a dragon could do that in a season? Because your other skill is Empire of the Worm Friends lore.
Okay.
It's a new lore skill.
Oh.
He's going to talk to you all about things from almost 1,000 years ago.
Yep, this is actually really interesting for Colbreth because having seen how that there are dragons and stuff is happening, this seems very interesting knowledge to have.
And what he wants to teach you, he says it's the beginning by making a connection to the sun dragon and follow what I do. And he has this whole thing. He wants you to, of course, eventually, when you show how awesome the sun dragon is, to recruit new people to join the cult of the sun dragon. And he will even teach you mystical mysticism, elements of that. So what that means is you also will get an experience check on meditation.
Oh, cool.
And when there's only a shrine, because he's the only, you and he are the only worshipers of the sun dragon, and there is only a shrine, and the shrine means the only spell. So you have to sacrifice a point of power, and you have to write down now, initiate of the sun god.
Yeah, just looking for some free space on my character sheet.
Of the sun god or sun
Sun dragon. Now you're kind of a pathetic initiate of it, because how crappy is, normally I wouldn't even let you, normally a self-respecting cult wouldn't let somebody that weak in the fire rune join their cult. They would expect it to be 50% first, but literally you are the only other initiate candidate in the world as far as Whistler is concerned.
Lucky me. Very nice.
So he's really willing to lower the standards for what's necessary. But you need to get that fire rune up.
Yep. So I need to use it too, obviously.
Yes.
More.
All right. So the magic that the Sun Dragon cult has, and the spell he's going to teach you is magical arms. It's a 1-point rune spell. And for one use of this arm, or this spell, an arm forms. It is attached to your body, fully capable as a normal arm. For every point that you use in this, you can get an additional arm on it.
So I have to train whole new weapons techniques. You
could have 3 armed.
I was going for 4 arms, but we'll start with just having one.
What he hopes is if you can rise into this, what he's encouraging is teaching you radiate, which would allow you to radiate intense heat capable of burning anything that touches you with 66 damage. But your fire rune needs to be way higher for that.
I would imagine that.
Wind Whistler says it makes an amazing anti-missile shield, causing arrows to burst into fire and turn into ash before it can even touch him.
Good. So, I do have one last thing. I'm sort of interested in what he thinks about it. This episode I told you about when we were in hell, in the underworld, walking around trying to find the Lightbringer quest company. And I had this strange inspiration of dipping these moonstones into the blood of Yelm that was trickling along the banks.
Oh, he finds that very interesting.
And this is what happened to it. I showed him the Firestone necklace.
He thinks that is fantastic, and clearly it means that you are a very worthy worshiper of the Sun Dragon. Says he tries to explain to you that the dragons, his understanding, he's not a dragon, but he has a lot of draconic learning. His understanding, and he believes this is correct, is that the dragons created the form of the cosmos out of themselves. Orksili, the great cosmic dragon, allowed himself to be sacrificed into parts, and these parts made up the cosmos. And his mind hung in the sky as the glowing sun, the source of light, the source of inspiration. The gods came later, and the gods laid claim to parts of the cosmos. But the dragons, that everything in the cosmos still, there is draconic power behind the gods. If this makes any sense to Colbrast. He says it takes many people, many decades, sometimes centuries to understand this.
Okay. I have no idea what you're talking about, but it sounds really interesting. So it's just getting his head filled with all this stuff, probably from a very, very eager teacher.
Yes, he tries to teach you meditation, about chakras. Imagine what a dragon talks about chakras. You know, where do they even begin?
Yeah, probably like 200 of them. I don't know.
Exactly. All about that, how to twist your body into the proper forms, etc. He said it'd be far easier. He says it would be far easier if we could get your tongue split so that your Old Wormish could get better. But he understands if you're not ready for that.
I'll just first try with the air rune and see how that goes.
So in short, everyone, Colbrast has joined a cult of two.
Yeah, best cults are always
and even by your guys' standards, this is a pretty weird one.
Yeah, it's cult number 6. I think he joined. But
how many cults are you an initiate of? This is the second initiate,
no,
right?
It's only the second initiate. But I'm lay member of Stormbrawl, Humact, and Ethereals in addition, which all somehow work together. As you know, it'll work out.
But yes, Wind Whistler is thrilled, absolutely thrilled.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I think it's really cool too.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's really trying to keep up with this.
He is. I mean, if you want, he will even teach you the rudiments of how to read and write Old Wormish.
Yeah, I can't read and write the languages I speak, but why not?
So you're illiterate. So he's going to teach you as your first written language, a written language that a highly magical language that has been dead for centuries. But he will start that. He will also try to train you the rudiments of this and teach the beginnings of this. Oh, he is happy. But you realize you spend almost all Earth season at the Griffin Gate.
Yep.
Doing and there's the Sun Dragon. He has the chants to it. You guys, every morning, he has you up on the top of Griffin Gate, and the sun comes up, and you have to welcome the sun.
And the yoga poses.
Well, no, he's trying to teach you. You have this giant worm trying to teach you yoga.
Yep. I'm sure it'll it'll work. No problem.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And by the way, your back feels so much better.
Yeah.
It really feels better.
That's good.
Okay, are we ready to move to somebody else for what they do in Darkness Season? But I have to say, this is like the opposite of, what is it? Vikram, Akram, what's the hot yoga? Is that Vikram yoga? The stuff where they do in the super hot temperature?
40 degrees, yep.
Yeah, this is like the opposite of it. This is the get you out where it's so cold yoga, because it's like winter.
Yep.
Bikram yoga.
Vikram yoga. Yeah, see,
Bikram,
doing okay
really
there.
cool. And by the way, we don't mention Win Whistler sounds like George Harrison, because obviously here comes all I thought.
Oh no, he is totally. He teaches you, my sweet Lord, do wah, my sweet Lord.
All right. Old Wormish. Old Wormish has got a Scouse accent. That's what a lot of people don't really.
Krishna. Hare
Sorry.
Krishna.
I couldn't.
You know, that's absolutely right. Actually, Colbrast, it's not what your chant actually says. And to all of you, to all the Krishna worshipers out here, I am not mocking the mighty Krishna, but your character is a lot like a member of the Hare Krishna movement. In terms of how everybody else sees him, it's come on, let's hear your the song My Sweet Lord?
No.
Philip, you don't know My Sweet
That's his
Lord?
job by next week.
Next week, I want you to memorize that song.
So is the Empire of the Worms friends essentially the Traveling Wilburys?
Okay, now before this gets any worse,
Is that canon?
Well, I don't know. They could be the Beatles.
I just want to get Tom Petty in there. You know how I feel about Tom Petty.
Who doesn't have high feelings about Tom Petty? I mean, come on, it's Tom Petty. At some point, somewhere on the planet, Tom Petty is on the radio, at least in the United States. And he should be. And he should be.
And I'm sure weird stories of this strange guy doing stuff on the tower of the Griffin Gate sort of seep into the city.
Oh yeah, no, there's all sorts of stories about that. The one-armed guy singing Hare Krishna on the top of Griffin Gate.
Is he going to get a reputation role given everything else you've achieved? This is just going to filter into your legend.
Yeah, give yourself a 1d3 increase in reputation, but point out that your reputation includes as member of strange airport cult that gives out literature.
Yeah. Okay,
You're
so
losing me today.
What was that, Claudia?
You're losing me today.
Sorry, for those of you who are either younger than Neil and I and Richard, and not from the United States and the UK. Are you familiar at all with the Hare Krishnas, Claudia?
Of course, I have sung some hair parts at class and in school and so on. So, but whatever. It's okay. Go on.
Hare Krishna.
So just so you know, there is a bar in Granada, and I've been there once, where the guy's an ex-bartender from Ibiza, and when I like going there, and he plays a variety of great music, French, traditional Spanish music, but every now and then he gets on his 70s music, and then it's George Harrison, all that stuff. And I've heard that
George
song
Harrison's totally awesome.
Oh,
George
exactly.
Harrison is totally awesome. He's like, absolutely. I mean, everybody talks about John Lennon and Paul McCartney, and heck, even Ringo gets more attention than George Harrison. It's not fair. Totally not fair. Totally underrated. Okay. With that, though, I'm going to jump over to what Gina does during darkness season. So let's hear it.
So what I'm going to do is actually, I was wondering how I can become a full priestess.
Well, so let's look at the
because darkness season is also where my high holy day is at some point, isn't it?
A darkness season is your high holy day. So let's look at this for Tyakora Tech. I'm opening it up right now. Everybody, this is all going to be so much easier when everybody has access to the Cults of Glorantha book, or Cults of RuneQuest book, or whatever we end up calling it. It'll be awesome. I won't have to look these up, these secret informations. So to become a priestess, you need to have the standard requirements for priest, which I believe is, let me just pull this up because I think that's in the appendix. No, it's in chapter 1. It's also in the core book.
I got you. I thought you could say this. Chim.
I can never say chim 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 chim. Chim chimmery, chim chimmery, chim chim cherry. Oh my!
What
I've got
beard
it if
did you
you want.
had?
What?
Yeah.
What is the standard requirements for becoming a priest? I believe
Be an initiate of the cult in good standing. Possess at
5
least
rune
one
points.
affinity, and
Yeah.
5 rune points, POW of 18, skill of at least 50% in worship deity, in 4 cults, and a vacancy. Now, of course, if you create
All
your
right,
own
so
shrine, it's not much.
So it's not that much. Do you have an 18 power, Claudia?
I know. In the moment, I have a 15 power.
So you need to get it up to. Do you have 5 rune points with Tychor check?
Now I have 4.
Okay. And do you have a worship of 50%?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have
I have a
death?
60. Yeah.
Death or rune at least 90%.
95.
Do you have a loyalty to the temple or devotion deity of at least 50?
You never gave me a loyalty of my temple.
Do you have
Of
devotion
Earth,
to?
loyalty to Earth Temple
There
and
you are.
Necropolis, but oh god, I think it is on 60.
That's
It's on the
enough. Now, which of these skills do you have at 50% or higher? Cult lore, Tychor.
Give me a second, I will let you know. Cold lore is where did I find
Knowledge.
Yes, I should have put so cold lore, yeah, 55. I have that.
Okay, meditate.
Meditate I have on 70.
Prepare corpse.
75.
Sing.
Yeah, happily sing on 90 or so.
Worship
90.
Tychor.
60.
Okay, you've got all the cult skills at 50% or higher, but how well can you read and write?
I can sing. Read and write Talarian at 60.
Okay, you need to get that up to 90.
What?
So you need to start training how to read and write because you need to be able to make the books of the dead.
But these are little pictures in the books of the dead.
Yeah, but you have to write them.
Draw
You have to
them.
write them. You have to draw them.
I can dance them and I can sing them.
But it doesn't. That's what the initiates do. You have to be the keepers of the dead. So
No,
all
that's
you
why I
need-
have my flunkies for it. That's the reason why I want to become priestess. So I have flunkies to do this for me. Scribes.
No, your flunkies dance.
No, they write. I dance. They write.
All right. So it sounds like what you want to do is start training every season. You want to train on your Thielen.
Yes, and I need to get actually, which is much more complicated, my power up, and I need another rune point, which does not help with my power.
Exactly. So what you need to do is
But it's my high holy day in this season.
Exactly. You get to lead worship. What you need to do is ingratiate. You need to put a big focus on how you need to put a focus on how you get your read write up, but you need to participate a lot in the Earth cult here. You need to be a good member of the Earth Temple so that you can try to lead the Death Goddess ceremonies because they don't have a priestess.
Yeah, but I always had good connections to the Earth Temple, I think. I never
You
got into a
did.
fight with them.
Did you get in a fight with them?
No.
I mean, it would kind of be like Gina, wouldn't it?
No, how about putting a nice donation down of 50 lunars?
It's always a good approach. That is.
I put a donation of 50 lunars down. So, done.
All right. So
For a
here's
feast for the dead.
feast
Proper
for the dead.
feast.
So, Claudia, you are given the possibility by the Earth Temple to lead the Tai Koratek Holy Day ceremonies. All right, this gets you a power gain roll because you're acting as the senior initiate here of this and performing the sacrifices and whatnot. On the other hand, if you fail and screw this up,
I do not fail.
okay, that's always good to hear. All right. So would you roll?
What shall I roll, or how can I augment?
Worship Tai Koratek. Now you get a little bit of a minus. This is not a temple, but it is the High Holy Day, which I believe gives you a plus 20.
Okay, so then I have an 80 on that. Actually, I haven't. Yeah, I don't know. I
You
think
can choose to augment as well.
You could try to augment with, say, dance.
Yes, I do now. Dance or sing, it's both 90. Would it help if I speak as Rolian?
No, you may want to do dance.
Okay, I dance first. Yes, I dance. So I have an augment and I have the plus 20. So how much do I have? Plus 90 or 90 in total? No, plus 80. No, 80 in total.
20 plus
20.
Yeah, 40. Add 40.
No, then I'm actually at 100 because I have a
Okay.
60. I rolled a 59. A solid success.
Excellent. So you lead the worship to the dead.
Yep.
Let us give yourself a power gain check for the season.
So I do it with a d6.
I don't want to do that right now. You can do that a little bit later, or you can do it while we move on to somebody else. But yes, you get that. Okay, with that pout.
You can also have to make. You also get your roll to make too, right?
You have to roll to see if you get it. 21
Yes.
minus 15. So you have a 30% chance of having your power go up.
With which rolls do I roll it?
You have a 30%. Yeah, 30%.
So on a d100.
Yes.
I rolled a 16.
There you are. 1d3.
Yeah.
So you can either roll a D. It's D6. It's D3 minus 1, or you can just add 1.
So it's 2 or 1, right? Or nothing.
2, 1, or 0.
I take 1.
Yeah, that's what I do too. Just not worth it. Once you get that roll, don't, it's so frustrating to say, oh my gosh, now I've made the roll. Oh, now I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
So can I get my rune points up?
You could sacrifice that 1 point into rune points, and then all you have to do is start getting it up.
Yep.
And up and up and up.
I'm doing that.
You also get to pick a new spell.
Yeah.
Yeah, super. So first,
Like heal body, heal wound, regenerate.
age does not exist in my vocabulary.
Now here's the irritating thing, because
So I'm back on 15 and I'm getting a rune point. So what kind of cool spells can I have?
your options are dismiss or summon earth elemental,
Yeah, but
small or medium.
But I have already this one thingy-majiggy. What was it? I got something where I can have an earth elemental.
Yes, but do you
Remember?
have one that lets you summon or dismiss an earth elemental?
And what else is there?
That's all that's taught at this temple for Tai Koratek.
Okay, it's a rune magic thing, yeah.
Helps if I unmute. They're building a house next door, so I'm muted while I'm not talking. She could also look at other magic from Ernalda that is taught at the temple, right? Or is that it?
So it's small or medium, was it? Yeah.
Small. Well, yes.
Okay.
You can't put more than you can't summon more than a medium. You can't dismiss more than a medium.
Roll it down.
There you are, and
So
obviously that's
and I'm doing reading. I read evening books. Yeah.
all right. So what you do is your Thielen can go up 1d6.
So 1d6.
So roll a 6.
A 5 at least. It's not that
Boy,
bad.
everybody's doing pretty good on their training. So what is your reading right now at?
65. I will
Only-
now always read an evening book.
Exactly. All the time. All the time. Like our kids. Hopefully you do it more diligently than our kids do.
Yeah, maybe I need some brainwash also, because otherwise it takes me how many seasons? Oh God,
5 seasons.
has to be faster. There has to be a different way. This is the way.
I mean, one thing you could try to do is you could try to persuade people to eventually to go to the necropolis. They very well may have a need to elevate people to that, but it's not like you're going to be going to Israeli anytime soon, I suspect.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, let's move. Is that all for your character, Claudia?
Mm-hmm.
Let's move to Nisk.
Well, Nisk is also planning at one time to lead a service, because that's something that Rune Lords can do. He'll spend a lot of his time with his new shadow cat, Ghost, and learning what it's like to have an allied spirit and that sort of thing.
I realised that we should have called the cat Hobbs.
Hobbs? Oh!
Oh, that's awesome.
There may be some licensing things in that regard, but
It's based on Thomas Hobbes, the 17th century philosopher.
The well-known cat.
so is Hobbes.
So is Hobbes. As given that Calvin is
and
based,
Hobbes, yeah,
yes, of course.
But that's not what we're referring to. We're referring to the well-known Old English name for the devil, Old Hob.
Old Hob. Okay. So with that, you're going to lead a ceremony. That was your plan?
Yeah, I think that was one of the key things too, is to do it just because it's an advantage he has. He can start building the, I guess, the worship of for learning that. I guess he's probably wait on the temple, the piece about the magic to combat the glow line and stuff. I think that's something he needs everybody involved with, Garanon and Kala, etc. He's not sure what Argrav meant by joining his group of magicians. I think that we're
gonna deal with that next session.
No
because
problem.
The other one involved in that is very likely in Kala.
Yeah, well, you said that, and Kala's not about. So that's probably it. I think that one thing is he may do the opposite, and he may take his requirement of, he may train in a spirit magic, because he can do that for free. And in return, he will teach any cultist who wishes to learn physical stuff, because that's one thing as a rune lord you have to do. So he's willing to teach sword, he's willing to teach shield, he's willing to teach the spell parry. Just trying to think of what other magic that he has that he can.
You're gonna set up your own dojo.
Yeah, I think that makes sense right now. Yeah.
Now the question I have is, which dojo is it? Are you Ralph Macchio, or are you the other guy?
I'll have to say.
Are you, what is it, Tiger? What is the name?
Kai.
Yeah, Tiger Kai.
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai.
Well, this would be like, like A-Link's Kai or something like that, right?
Exactly. Here's the question. Is your style Cobra Kai, or is it?
I've actually never seen the series, so. I'm sorry.
But this is like Claudia. Claudia's at least seen part of the series.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't even seen an episode of it. Maybe I should.
Are you the nice instructor, filled with wisdom and personal elevation, or do you teach them that life ain't fair and they need to strike back?
Nisk is a pretty nice guy, and Nisk is all about. So he is actually probably the opposite. He's like, yeah, people don't think he's as good a fighter as he is. He's not into death at all. He's into fertility and all this stuff, and that's the way he does. But if people want to, so he's probably and very, very, very flighty. That's the one thing. If you train with
He's
Nisk,
totally Mr. Miyagi. He's totally Mr. Miyagi. Totally. That's who you are, Nisk. Mr. Miyagi.
Mr. Miyagi.
Yep.
Jeff Goldblum and Mr. Miyagi. He's not.
You're played by Pat Morita.
There's an even worse one. He should be, although it's shown by Joel Gray, who did a, obviously inappropriate revision of a Korean person. But if you've ever watched Remo Williams, have you seen that movie?
Yeah, I can only vaguely remember. Joel Gray, though, wasn't he the dude in the in Cabaret?
Right.
Yeah,
he was the MC. Oscar winner.
Yeah, but if you ever see The Adventures of Remo Williams, it's about someone training other people, and except he's about all about the inferiority of the white person. But it's hilarious. It's a really good portrayal on it. He's an excellent trainer too. Poor Remo Williams. Anyway,
I'm just pointing out there may be a reason that I never actually watched Remo Williams. I can't even remember it. Wasn't it based on like a series of books? The Destroyer, right? The Destroyer.
I can't remember.
Come on, awesomely bad government spy books. God.
I don't think this guy's a government spy, but it could fit in there. Fred Ward.
Okay.
Oh, it's Fred Ward, isn't it?
Yeah, he's the hero.
And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this sort of random tangent, you guys don't get very often watching the show, but this happens all the time to Claudia's consternation as we end up talking about random pop culture references. Remo Williams, isn't he based on The Destroyer? And then at some certain point, we find how obscure and esoteric we can get to the point where the last person nodding their head wins.
When you go up in a place where there's only like 2 TV channels, you kind of got what you got.
All right, so it sounds like you also make your worship roll.
Yeah, I think so. I won't worry about augmenting. I don't have to. And I rolled a 65, so no problem.
And of course, you can also get training by the temple. The temple actually provides you with training.
Correct. So that'll be part of it.
So it sounds like Darkness season was largely spent, because it's going to be a short episode tonight, but Darkness season was largely spent doing this. There may be some other stuff that happens in Darkness season next session when we have the next session. But this gives everybody a nice direction and opportunity to have kind of some focus on your characters individually, especially in terms of training and whatnot. And this is a nice thing about the trying to do things season at a time is, bam, we've gone by 2 seasons in two sessions.
Mm-hmm.
So
we also get at the end of it, we can also do occupation rolls.
You get to all your occupation rolls. So why don't you guys go ahead and do that? And I think this is kind of a good place to wrap up. Are you okay for wrapping up more or less around?
Small thing.
Yes, sir. Please.
And while I'm there doing my training on the Griffin Gate, and people sort of start, coming to look, who is this guy? What's he doing? I'll start sort of, talking to them when they come along and start weaving in tales about our deeds in the underworld and start mixing them with the stuff I learned from Wind Whistler. Basically to sort of try and establish in a very blunt manner a germ of a hero cult.
Yeah, I would like you to roll against your reputation.
Okay.
So it's you're telling them about the underworld.
Yeah.
So almost as though you could say you were telling them about the end of the line. traveling.
Well, I'll probably leave out that bit where Garen always said I was dead, because I'm obviously not dead. So
Well, you want
So-
to treat them. You want to treat them carefully. You want to handle them with care.
Okay.
Handle with care.
Yep.
Is this when you're back in New Pavis?
Yep.
I want to know, Colbrast, do you have a special Colbrast, the prophet of the sun dragon outfit?
Not yet.
Are you going to get one? You know, because every good founder of a cult,
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you could go.
I mean, I already have the most splendid headgear in all of New Pavis, so that should be a good start. You know,
You
with
do have-
blue and with the blue and red feathers and stuff. And
That's right. You do have the awesome helmet, don't you?
mm. So I did my reputation roll.
And you succeed.
Yep.
So here's the deal. Colbrast, tell me how often during the week you could be found walking around, talking to people in the market square or in the public square where people gather, you know, kind of like a philosopher or a prophet or as a crazy Hare Krishna guy handing out literature. Yeah. How often do you say you're doing that?
Well, a lot. I would say at least every second day. Well, you know, sort of in the evening. It depends a bit when training is and how long training is, obviously. But it's one way to sort of, you know, relax the brain after all that mind-bending indoctrination by Wind Whistler. So I probably do this almost every evening.
Every evening. Wow. Okay, so
I'm not training anything else at the moment, I would guess. So
humor me and roll a d10.
2.
You know, you managed to get the attention of actually there are a few merchants in the area that, because it's the public district where a lot of this happens, and your speeches about your having gone to the underworld, how you've spoken with dragons. Give me something else. Throw me another bone here.
I went to the underworld. And of course, I for the merchants, I sort of mix this with Isari's stuff, because I'm a lay member of Isari, so they sort of understand where we're coming from.
It actually gets a little bit of popularity, or at least some attention and polite polite interest from several of the Isri's caravan merchants here. It also means you tend to get, good. They tend to offer you food and whatnot like that. But you're actually having kind of a pretty good time. Oh my gosh, Claudia's getting overwhelmed by blackness.
Terror.
But yeah, you.
She found my peppermint tea.
You have a little bit of a following amongst the merchants. Not so much, I wouldn't call it so much that they're your devotees or anything, but they seem to be several of the merchants seem to be interested in what you're saying and somewhat supportive of it.
I sort of, at the beginning, I thought he was a bit mad, but actually what he's saying does make some sense.
Exactly. So, occasionally you get to have nice dinners at the, with the houses of the merchant caravans.
Okay.
Which is kind of nice.
Yep.
So
nice dinners are always nice.
Well, nice dinners are always nice. They talk to you about whole Colbrast cosmology.
And of course, what Wind Whistler told him about what he learned about Isari's 1,000 years ago, or what it was.
what you get to present is this amazing insight.
Yeah, probably totally skewed, but it's a good.
Nonetheless, you get to be the prophet. You're getting, you're beginning to set up your cult. You might even have a couple of lay members by the end of the season. In fact, I'll see how many. 2.
Cool.
2 lay members. We'll work that out at a later point. But yes, so I think this is a good point to stop, because I want to actually have some stuff go on in Darkness Season, but I'd like to have Linda around for it. So is that good with everybody?
Yep. We'll do our occupation stuff as appropriate.
Yeah, make your additional rolls. I thought this actually went a little bit longer than I expected for a housekeeping session. So excellent. And tune in next week. And thank you all for watching this. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Chaosium YouTube channel. Thank you all.
We had a new initiate. We had a new lay member. Boy, it was all culterific this time.
Cult-orific.
All terrific. That was this
All right,
episode.
take care, everyone.